What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys because I'm going to talk about the Forbidden Limited list. This is more. This discussion video is more so of look out for this, look out for that. You don't know what the what the TCG Forbidden Limited list can do, but it could potentially do it. And I want you guys to understand. Um, I'm just gonna flat out say I don't really like making, prediction videos and stuff like that because you may never know exactly what could happen. I don't want to speculate anything, but then I also don't want to be like, hmm, I think this is going to happen to the list, and I want you guys all to listen to me, and then, all the crazy clickbait. Because those are the crazy things that happens when it comes to the Forbidden Limited list. And trust me, I've seen all the madness over the last several years. So actually, last several. Let's talk about the last decade plus. Because yeah, it gets to that level. It really does. Um, Looking at it overall, because I don't want to make this video too long, I am going to just talk about some key points that could potentially, like, key aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! That could potentially be affected by the list. I may miss some cards, I may not have all the cards here, and I'm kind of not trying to stretch this video too long than it already should be. So, with that in mind, why don't we just start going through the lineup? So, first off is the guy in front now, firewall tracking. I'm gonna have to say that this card could potentially come off the list, and that's only due to the fact that its errata changes what made this card broken. For the fact that this card doesn't have its, massive amount of bounce that could potentially drag on so many things. Because remember, Firewall had to be hit because of all the FTKs that this card supported. Lots of burn, a lot of burn decks in the OCG got hit because of their abuse of Firewall tracking. Looking at you, was it? What is his name? Cannon Soldier. Yeah, Cannon Soldier. Because all the variations of Cannon Soldier got hit on the Forbidden Limited list because of Firewall. Then they ultimately banned Firewall because of how broken Firewall was getting at the time. And then it was really just like, okay, well, you can't FTK with him, but how about we OTK with him? And then just set up a whole board thanks to Firewall tracking. And initially, honestly, that's why I think this card could come back off because of now its effects limiting its massive assets. Um, and not to mention just the overall look of it all. If it came back, it comes back. So, yeah. Then we move on. We got to talk about Pendulum. Now, Heavy Metal Foes Electromite has been talked about, and that's primarily because of the announcements of the Do Re Mi chord. Now, the Do Re Mi chord being an all pendulum archetype, it could see its advantages. It has a lot of pendulum stuff that it could take a look at. And then also remember, they did announce Luster Pendulum and Ignister Pendulum for the TCG print. So I look at it like this. If it comes back, it's still broken. There are some outs to it. But would it give the boost in sales for the new pendulum archetype? Because that's ultimately what this comes down to. When it comes down to a lot of this, is will they unban these cards to help promote the sales of other cards? Would this potentially make those other cards a lot more broken? Or would they survive the game itself? And I'm also taking a look at this. Even if they don't unban this, could there be some support in change for, Draco Face Off and Mr. Promise? Could we see those cards returning? Could we also see them hitting Wavering Eyes as a way to say, this is going to get too crazy with the mirror match, or we're going to see too many pendulum mirror matches, and we don't want a whole other spark of that. Even if the Master Rule did change a lot of the situation that was going on with Penn. Could you see a lot of these current changes change it up just so that other cars would potentially be hit in response, so that way it doesn't make itself too broken. But like I said, you can never know because you don't really know too much when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. So, all right, we got that out the way. Next up is of course Dragon Link. Primarily the Guard Dragon stuff. SB and Pesty. Could we see these two potentially join their other brethren in the Forbidden section? And this is due to the fact that I think a lot of people are questioning about Dragunity and how Dragunity is one of the Dragon Link cards that can potentially say, this car, these two right here are part of the problem. Let's ban the problem and go from there. And honestly, you could see it. You don't want to admit it, but they could potentially ban it. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because, they probably are players of Guard Dragon. But I have to say it. You have to look at it this way. Konami just doesn't hit meta. They can also hit casual. And then say because it could potentially be new meta. And that's always one thing about this is I don't know if other people who talk about their whole predictions of the Forbidden Limited list do. But yeah, you gotta look at it at every aspect. Not just, casual, but competitive. You gotta look at it at both ends. So that's why I did put these here, even though they're not too good here and there, potential future. Moving on from there, we can talk about Tri Brigade and Zodiac. Tinky is the focus. Tinky could be potentially a card that could be hit because it just sparks up the Beast family. The Beast family can go like from 0 to 100, and it literally only takes one card. I am a service to this because remember, guys, I play Tri Brigade Bird. I play variations of Harpies that include Tri Brigade. And Zodiac can take advantage of Tri Brigade. So, those are some things. If hitting Tinky doesn't just hit Tri, it also hits Zoo. It can also hit, it can hit a lot of Beast decks. So, yeah, it can happen. Don't want it to happen. It can happen. Alright. And if that's the thing, if they want to sporadically help Zoo, double Wrapped here or double Trident, if they're not too broken, and I mean we are having enough things to out there fight. So alright. We talked about those. Eldritch is something I can briefly go into a bit of discussion. Eldritch is still good. Eldritch has a lot of potential. Eldritch is still a deck. Do I think Eldritch could hit? I mean, it could. It couldn't. Some people are worried. Some people are just like, nah. I mean, there's outs to it. We don't need to be concerned. But I don't know. It's just, to me, I feel like if you take the aspects of anything, whether it's new or old, you have to look at it like this. A deck is still affected by the many things that it can perform. If Eldritch can perform well, I'm sure Eldritch can potentially be hit. I don't know how broken Eldritch has gotten. I know Eldritch can be very versatile. So I look at that point. I just don't exactly know what they could potentially hit. So I just threw all the Eldritch cards here that I knew were potentially really, really good. And just put them all together. Speaking of which, let's move on to another one of the archetypes that was 3-in-1, and that is Drytron. Drytron could potentially have our girl Cyber Angel Benton hit the list. Then why Cyber Angel Benton? Okay, there's a little monster called Eva. Um, or everybody. I forget what the name of this monster is. It's a level 1 monster, but it gets other level 1 monster. It gets other monsters. And you know how cyber angels work when they're used for ritual summon. They can benefit from the whole, I got used as a ritual summon, so let me do this, this, and this effect. Yeah. I'm telling, I don't know. Like, a lot of people have been saying Benton could be potentially hit because of how broken things have gotten with ritual. And even if it doesn't look broken on the outside, looking on the you can look on the inside and say, "Oh yeah, it could be something that could potentially be hit, just because of how broken it is in terms of support." You also have to look at that too. Support cards can be hit if it comes to hurting other decks. All right, now I've talked about my little Cyber Angel sad face. Dinosaur is going to be my next sad face because they still have a Tinky. I mean, they have a Rhoda that has not been hit. And this Rhoda could still be doing some nasty things. Remember, Mesocerosaurus was hit at one point. I believe there were a couple other dinosaur cards that were also hit in the same conjunction because of how broken Dinosaur had got. It was only till later on where they unlimited Mesocerosaurus, and I believe they could also unlimited some other cards in support of Dragon. Could Dragon see some more hits? It could. I'm not saying that it deserves it, but here's the thing. If a structure that can easily give you support to build a deck with ease, you have to be very cautious of what it could potentially do in the future. And in the future, if Dinosaur continues to be a threat, Konami is like, okay, no, let's hit it. Because you got a freebie roaming reinforcement, you got a freebie defense and special summon card, a protection in the special summon all in one card. Then you got this guy right here, True Kings of All Calamity, which the whole True King, True Draco dinosaur deck can definitely take advantage of. So it's just like, I'm looking at these 3 cards like Konami's looking at you guys too. And, like I said, it's not just about competitive. It can also be about casual. And it can also be about rogue. And it can be a lot of things that could potentially be looking at. Now, with that said in mind, the only other card I haven't talked about is Call by the Grave. And I think a little bit of Maxine. Now, these two I'm going to talk about because of the fact that they kind of coincide with each other. Hand traps are still a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And monster effects are still a thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's what Call by the Grave answered to. And is the answer to. It getting hit to 1 was kind of just like, did I trade in 2 cards to get this card hit? Because at the time this card came hit to 1, Duster came back, which to be fair, I don't care. I got my Duster back. If I had to sacrifice 2 Call by the Graves for it, then so be it. But, yeah, I potentially see Call by the Grave coming back. Just because it is an answer not just to hand traps, but it's also an answer to a lot of monster effects. And people don't want to run Necro Valley in their side deck. Or try to force the Necro Valley in their main. Now that there's Maxi, and the only brief explanation I can give for Maxi is Maxi Challenge is real. Maxi Challenge could be a thing, and even though Maxi tends to be a good answer to a lot of things, Maxi can also be its own double-edged sword. And that's ultimately why it got hit in the first place, because it was its own double-edged sword. Even though it was a good answer to a lot of decks that special summoned, there was also ways to work around the Maxi, take the Maxi challenge, and say, screw the Maxi challenge, I'm here to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, yeah. I think that's pretty much about it for my little discussion video about the Forbidden Limited list, and I think I covered a good portion of what I wanted to cover. Now, if there's anything you'd like to add to this conversation, you can freely do that in the comment section below. I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching, and I would love to hear your input about what you think could be on the next Forbidden Limited list. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys can be informed of when I do upload more content. And my social media links are in the description box so you guys can talk to me there. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. HPJ, signing out. Take care.